The Inner Game of Success, written and published by Echo Tales. Introduction. Success is not something you chase. It is something you build from the inside. Most people focus on results. They chase money. They chase status. They chase approval. Yet they wonder why success feels unstable, or why it disappears just as fast as it arrives. This book begins where real success starts. Inside your mind, inside your habits, inside the way you think, feel, and act each day. The inner game of success is about the invisible work that creates visible results. It is about mastering your thoughts before mastering your outcomes. It is about becoming the kind of person who succeeds naturally. This is not a book of quick tricks. It is not built on hype or shortcuts. It is built on clarity, discipline, and inner strength. You will learn why mindset shapes performance. You will learn how emotions influence decisions. You will learn how identity drives behavior. Most importantly, you will learn how to win the silent battles that happen every day. The battles no one sees. The battles that decide everything. Each chapter is designed to be simple, clear, practical. You will not be overwhelmed with theory. You will be guided through ideas you can apply immediately. This audiobook is a conversation, a steady voice reminding you that success is not outside of you. It is already within reach. As you listen, you will begin to notice changes in how you focus, in how you respond to pressure, in how you show up for your goals. This is the inner game, and once you learn to play it well, the outer game takes care of itself. Let us begin. Chapter 1. The Real Meaning of Success. Success is one of the most used words in the world. It is also one of the most misunderstood. Ask 10 people what success means, and you will hear 10 different answers. Some will talk about money, some will mention fame or status. Others will point to freedom, comfort, or recognition. None of these answers are wrong, but they are incomplete. Most people define success by what can be seen: the job title, the bank balance, the applause from others. This chapter invites you to look deeper, because real success does not begin on the outside. It begins within. Success is an inside job. Imagine two people reaching the same goal. They earn the same income. They live similar lives. One feels fulfilled and calm. The other feels anxious and empty. From the outside, they look equally successful. On the inside, they live in different worlds. This is the difference between outer success and inner success. Outer success is visible. Inner success is felt. Inner success is the foundation. Without it, outer achievements feel fragile. With it, even modest results feel meaningful. Real success is not just about what you achieve. It is about who you become while achieving it. The trap of borrowed definitions. Many people chase success they did not choose. They inherit it. They copy it. They absorb it from society, family, or social media. A young professional works endless hours, not because the work fulfills them, but because success was defined as being busy and impressive. A business owner grows fast, not because growth brings joy, but because slowing down feels like failure. When success is borrowed, it never satisfies. It always asks for more effort, more sacrifice, more approval. True success must be defined personally, otherwise it becomes a moving target. A quiet story of redefinition. Consider a man who spent years climbing a corporate ladder. He reached the position he once dreamed about. The salary was high, the title was respected. Yet every morning felt heavy. Every Sunday night brought stress. One day he asked a simple question: what am I succeeding at, really? The answer changed his life. He realized he was succeeding at meeting expectations, but failing at meeting himself. He did not quit overnight. He did not burn everything down. He adjusted. He redefined success as balance, purpose, and presence. His income became stable instead of extreme. His stress reduced. His life expanded. This was not a step backward. It was a step inward. Success is alignment. Real success feels aligned. Your actions match your values. Your goals match your identity. When alignment is missing, progress feels forced. When alignment is present, effort feels lighter. Alignment does not mean ease. It means clarity. You know why you are doing what you are doing. You accept the cost. You stand behind the choice. This inner agreement creates confidence, not loud confidence, quiet confidence. The role of inner metrics. Outer success uses external metrics, income, awards, numbers. Inner success uses internal metrics, peace of mind, consistency, self-respect. Ask yourself a few simple questions. Do I trust myself? Do I like how I live each day? Do my goals reflect who I am becoming? These questions reveal more than any paycheck. When inner metrics improve, outer results often follow, but even when they do not, life still feels complete. Redefining. Winning is not always beating others. Often it is mastering yourself. It is choosing discipline when comfort calls. It is choosing honesty when shortcuts tempt you. It is choosing patience when urgency pressures you. This kind of winning is invisible, but it compounds. Over time, it shapes character. Character shapes decisions. Decisions shape destiny. A practical reflection. Take a moment to reflect. No pressure, no judgment. Ask yourself this: if no one were watching, what would success look like for me? Notice what comes up. Notice what feels true. This answer may change over time. That is normal. Growth changes definitions. The key is awareness. Awareness gives you choice. The foundation moving forward. This book is built on one core belief. Outer success without inner mastery is unstable. Inner mastery creates lasting success. As you move through the chapters ahead, you will explore mindset, emotion, focus, and discipline. Each concept builds upon this foundation. Success is not something you prove, it is something you practice, and the practice always begins within. Chapter 2. Why the inner game comes first. Before any result appears in your life, something else happens first. A thought forms. A belief takes shape. A decision is made. This is the inner game at work. Most people try to change their lives by changing the outside. They chase faster methods. They chase new strategies, yet the same patterns repeat. Progress starts strong, then it slows, then it collapses. The problem is not effort. The problem is order. The inner game must come first. The invisible starting line. Every action begins internally. No exception. Before you speak, you think. Before you act, you decide. Before you persist, you believe. If the inner foundation is weak, action feels heavy. Consistency feels forced. Confidence feels fake. When the inner foundation is strong, action flows. Focus improves. Momentum builds naturally. This is why two people can follow the same plan and get different results. One struggles, the other progresses. The difference is not the plan, it is the person running it. Skill without stability. Imagine a skilled athlete with a restless mind. They know the technique, they understand the rules, but under pressure, they hesitate, they overthink, they lose control. Now imagine a less skilled athlete with strong inner control. They stay calm, they trust themselves, they adapt quickly. In high-pressure moments, the second athlete often wins. This is not luck, it is inner mastery. Skills matter, strategies matter, but they perform best when guided by a steady mind. Why motivation is not enough. Many people wait to feel motivated. They believe motivation creates action. In reality, motivation is unreliable. It rises and falls. It fades under stress. The inner game builds something stronger: self-trust, discipline, emotional control. These qualities do not depend on mood. They operate even when energy is low. When the inner game comes first, action does not require constant excitement. It becomes a habit, a standard, a quiet commitment. The cost of ignoring the inner game. When the inner game is ignored, effort increases but results do not. Burnout appears. Doubt grows. People begin to blame themselves. They think they are not talented enough, not disciplined enough, not lucky enough. The truth is simpler. They are building on unstable ground. Without inner clarity, goals feel confusing. Without emotional control, setbacks feel personal. Without self-belief, progress feels fragile. Ignoring the inner game makes success exhausting. A common real-world pattern. A person sets a big goal. They start strong. They work long hours. Then resistance shows up. Fatigue, fear, distraction. Instead of addressing the inner resistance, they push harder. This works for a while. Then something breaks. They quit, or they restart later, or they lower their standards. The cycle repeats. When the inner game is trained, resistance is expected. It is managed. It is not feared. This changes everything. Inner game creates consistency. Consistency is the real secret to success. Not intensity, not talent. Consistency comes from identity. It comes from inner agreement. When you see yourself as someone who shows up, you show up. When you trust yourself, you follow through. When your goals feel aligned, discipline feels natural. The inner game shapes identity. Identity shapes behavior. This is why the inner game must come first. Pressure reveals inner strength. Pressure does not create weakness. It reveals it. When stress rises, habits disappear. Only inner patterns remain. If your inner world is calm, pressure sharpens you. If your inner world is chaotic, pressure overwhelms you. Training the inner game prepares you for moments that matter. Deadlines, decisions, setbacks. These moments do not ask what you know. They ask who you are. Building from the inside out. Think of success as a structure. The inner game is the foundation. The outer game is the visible result. A weak foundation cannot support growth. A strong foundation invites expansion. When you strengthen the inner game, effort becomes efficient. Learning becomes faster. Failure becomes feedback. You stop fighting yourself. You start working with yourself. A simple inner shift. Here is a practical shift to begin now. Instead of asking, how do I achieve this? Ask, who must I become to sustain this? This question changes focus. It builds patience. It builds depth. Success becomes a process of growth, not a race for results. Setting the direction ahead. This chapter marks a turning point. From here on, the focus moves inward. The chapters ahead will train awareness, focus, emotional control, and discipline. Each one strengthens the inner game, because once the inner game is solid, the outer game becomes simpler, not easy, but possible. Chapter 3. The voice inside your head. There is a voice inside your head that never stops speaking. It talks when you wake up. It talks when you make decisions. It talks when things go well and when things fall apart. Most people never question this voice. They assume it is the truth. They assume it is them. It is not. This chapter is about understanding that voice, because the way you speak to yourself quietly shapes your entire life. The most influential conversation. You have many conversations every day with family, with coworkers, with strangers. But the most influential conversation is the one you have with yourself. It shapes how you see the world. It shapes how you see yourself. When this inner voice is supportive, challenges feel manageable. When it is critical, even small tasks feel heavy. The voice inside your head can be your greatest ally or your strongest obstacle. How the inner voice is formed. This voice did not appear by accident. It was shaped over time. It formed through past experiences, through feedback from others, through moments of success and failure. A child hears praise and builds confidence. A child hears criticism and builds doubt. Over time, those external voices move inside. They become internal commentary. The important thing to understand is this: just because the voice is familiar does not mean it is accurate. Thoughts are not commands. Many people treat thoughts as instructions. If a thought says you cannot do this, they stop. If it says you will fail, they hesitate. But thoughts are not commands. They are suggestions. They appear automatically, often without logic, often without evidence. Learning to notice thoughts without obeying them is a key inner skill. You can hear a thought without following it. You can question it. You can replace it. The tone matters more than the words. Pay attention to the tone of your inner voice. Is it harsh? Is it impatient? Is it dismissive? Or is it calm, clear, or constructive? Two people can think the same words, but the tone changes the effect. A calm voice says, "This is hard, but you can learn." A harsh voice says, "This is hard, and you are not good enough." One builds growth, the other builds fear. A simple everyday example. Imagine you make a small mistake at work. The task is minor. The consequence is small. One inner voice says, "Everyone makes mistakes. Fix it and move on." Another says, "You always mess things up." The mistake is the same. The result is not. The second voice creates tension. It drains energy. It weakens confidence. Over time, this pattern compounds. The inner critic and its purpose. The inner critic often believes it is helping. It thinks pressure creates performance. It thinks criticism prevents failure. Sometimes it does. Often it does not. Excessive inner criticism creates fear. Fear narrows focus. Narrow focus limits growth. The goal is not to eliminate the inner voice. The goal is to train it. From critic to coach. A critic points out flaws. A coach guides improvement. A critic attacks identity. A coach addresses behavior. Instead of saying, "I am terrible at this," a coach-like voice says, "This needs practice." Instead of saying, "I always fail," it says, "This attempt did not work." This shift sounds small. It is powerful. It keeps the mind engaged instead of defensive. Awareness is the first skill. You cannot change a voice you do not notice. Start by listening, not judging, just noticing. Notice what the voice says under pressure. Notice what it says after mistakes. Notice what it says when you succeed. Awareness creates distance. Distance creates choice. Once you see the pattern, you are no longer trapped by it. Choosing a better inner dialogue. You do not need fake positivity. You need honest support. The inner voice should be realistic and constructive, firm but fair. Ask yourself one simple question: would I speak to someone I respect this way? If the answer is no, adjust the tone. Speak to yourself like someone you are responsible for guiding. Daily practice that builds control. Each day offers practice. When a negative thought appears, pause. Do not fight it. Do not follow it. Replace it with a grounded statement, one that keeps you moving forward. This does not happen overnight. It happens through repetition. Small corrections, made often, create lasting change. Why this matters for success. The voice inside your head shapes confidence. It shapes persistence. It shapes risk-taking. A supportive inner voice encourages effort. A hostile one avoids challenge. Success requires growth. Growth requires mistakes. Mistakes require compassion. Without a trained inner voice, progress feels unsafe. Bringing it all together, you are not your thoughts. You are the one who hears them. The voice inside your head is a tool. Like any tool, it can be sharpened or misused. When trained well, it guides focus. It strengthens discipline. It builds resilience. Chapter 4. Mastering Emotional Control. Emotions are powerful. They can push you forward. They can also pull you off course. Most people do not fail because they lack knowledge. They fail because emotions take control at the wrong moment. This chapter is about learning to work with emotions, not fighting them, not ignoring them, but mastering them. Emotions are signals, not commands. Every emotion carries information. Fear warns. Anger protects. Excitement energizes. The problem begins when emotions are treated as orders. When fear says stop, and you stop. When anger says react, and you explode. Emotions are signals. They are not instructions. Mastery begins when you learn to pause between feeling and action. Why emotional control matters. Under pressure, emotions rise. Deadlines tighten. Expectations increase. In these moments, emotional reactions feel urgent. But urgency often leads to poor decisions. A calm mind sees options. A reactive mind sees threats. Emotional control creates space. Space allows choice. Choice changes outcomes. A common high-pressure moment. Imagine receiving unexpected criticism. Your chest tightens. Your thoughts race. One response is immediate defense. Words spill out. Regret follows. Another response is pause. A breath. A moment of restraint. The situation is the same. The result is not. Emotional control protects relationships. It protects focus. It protects momentum. The myth of suppression. Many people believe emotional control means suppression. They think strong people do not feel. This is false. Strong people feel deeply. They simply respond wisely. Suppressing emotions stores pressure. Stored pressure leaks later. Control is not silence. It is regulation. Naming creates power. When emotions are vague, they feel overwhelming. When they are named, they shrink. Instead of saying, "I feel bad," say, "I feel frustrated." Instead of saying, "I am stressed," say, "I feel overwhelmed." Naming an emotion activates awareness. Awareness reduces intensity. This small habit builds emotional literacy. The pause that changes everything. Between emotion and action, there is a pause. In that pause lives power. A single breath can slow the nervous system. A brief pause can stop a chain reaction. Practice this. When emotion rises, breathe slowly. Count to 3 before responding. This is not weakness. It is skill. Emotional control builds trust. People trust those who are steady. Not perfect. Steady. When you manage emotions, others feel safe. They listen. They respect. This applies to leadership, to family, to self-trust. Each calm response strengthens credibility. Internal triggers and old patterns. Not all emotions come from the present. Some are echoes of the past. A comment reminds you of an old failure. A tone triggers a memory. Emotional control includes recognizing triggers. Ask, is this about now or then? This question creates separation. Separation restores clarity, training emotional resilience. Emotional control is a muscle. It strengthens with use. Start small. Daily annoyances, minor frustrations. Each time you respond instead of react, the muscle grows. Over time, larger challenges feel manageable. A simple daily practice. At the end of each day, reflect briefly. Where did emotion guide me well? Where did it guide me poorly? No judgment, only learning. This reflection builds awareness. Awareness builds mastery. Why this skill shapes success. Success brings pressure, responsibility, uncertainty. Without emotional control, success feels stressful. With it, success feels stable. You do not lose ambition. You gain composure. Composure allows you to perform when it matters most. Moving forward with control. Mastering emotional control does not mean becoming emotionless. It means becoming grounded. You still feel joy. You still feel disappointment. But emotions no longer drive the wheel. You do. Chapter 5. Identity Shapes Destiny. Every action you take begins with a quiet belief about who you are, not what you want, not what you hope, but who you believe yourself to be. This belief is called identity, and it shapes your destiny more than talent, luck, or opportunity. Identity comes before behavior. People often try to change behavior first. They try to work harder. They try to think positively. They try to stay consistent. But behavior follows identity, not the other way around. If you see yourself as someone who gives up, effort fades quickly. If you see yourself as someone who finishes, persistence feels natural. Identity answers one question: what kind of person am I? Your answer guides your choices every day. The hidden power of self-image. Self-image operates quietly. It does not shout. It whispers. It influences what you attempt. It influences what you avoid. It influences what you tolerate. A person who sees themselves as capable tries again. A person who sees themselves as weak stops early. Two people face the same challenge. One leans in, the other steps back. The difference is not ability, it is identity. How identity is formed. Identity is shaped through repetition. Past experiences, stories you tell yourself. If you fail often and label yourself a failure, identity shrinks. If you persist and label yourself a learner, identity grows. Labels matter. The words you use become internal truths. Over time, these truths feel permanent, but they are not. Identity is learned, which means it can be changed. A story of quiet transformation. Consider a woman who always avoided leadership. She believed she was not the type, not confident, not assertive. One day, circumstances forced her to step up. She did not feel ready, but she acted anyway. She listened carefully. She prepared thoroughly. She stayed calm. The role changed her, but more importantly, her identity changed first. She began to see herself differently, not as fearless, but as capable. That belief altered her future. The cost of an outdated identity. Many people live with an identity that no longer fits. It was formed years ago. In a different season, they still act as if they are inexperienced, or unworthy, or limited. This creates internal conflict. Their growth demands more. Their identity resists. Progress slows. Updating identity is not arrogance. It is accuracy. Identity-based decisions. Every day you make identity-based choices. You say, that is not me, or this is who I am now. When identity shifts, decisions simplify. You stop negotiating with yourself. A person who sees themselves as disciplined does not debate habits. They act in alignment. Alignment creates momentum. Small promises shape identity. Identity is reinforced by evidence. Small promises kept build trust. Small promises broken weaken it. When you follow through, you tell yourself a story. I am reliable. I can be trusted. When you do not, the opposite forms. Start small. Keep simple commitments. Identity grows through consistency. Choosing your identity intentionally. You do not have to wait for life to assign identity. You can choose. Ask yourself this: who do I need to become to live the life I want? Do not aim for perfection. Aim for direction. Identity is not a mask. It is a standard. Why identity drives long-term success. Motivation fades. Circumstances change. Identity remains. When identity is strong, setbacks do not define you. They inform you. You say, this is a challenge, not a verdict. This mindset sustains long journeys. A practical identity exercise. Write one sentence. I am the kind of person who. Complete it with a behavior you value. Then act in alignment once today. This simple act strengthens identity. Stepping into the next chapter, identity, shapes how you focus, what you notice, what you ignore. Chapter 6. Focus is a competitive advantage. Focus is no longer common. That is why it is powerful. In a world full of noise, the ability to concentrate has become rare. Notifications interrupt. Opinions distract. Urgency pulls attention in every direction. This chapter explores why focus is one of your greatest advantages, not just for productivity, but for success itself. Attention shapes reality. What you focus on grows in importance. What you ignore fades. When attention is scattered, effort is wasted. When attention is directed, progress accelerates. Focus determines what you learn. It determines what you notice. It determines what you improve. Two people can work the same hours. The focused one moves farther. The cost of divided attention. Multitasking feels productive. It is not. Switching tasks drains mental energy. Quality drops. Mistakes increase. A divided mind struggles to go deep without depth. Mastery does not form. Success requires depth. Depth requires focus. A modern distraction story. Imagine sitting down to work on an important goal. The phone buzzes. A message appears. You check it quickly. Then another. Then another. Minutes pass. The mind feels tired. The task feels heavier. Nothing dramatic happened, but momentum was lost. This pattern repeats daily for many people. It silently limits growth. Focus is a trainable skill. Focus is not a personality trait. It is a skill. It strengthens with practice. It weakens with neglect. Every time you resist distraction, focus grows. Every time you give in, it shrinks. Small moments matter. Clarity creates focus. Focus improves when goals are clear. Vague goals create wandering attention. When you know exactly what matters, saying no becomes easier. You stop chasing everything. You choose deliberately. Clarity reduces mental noise. Single tasking builds power. Doing one thing at a time may feel slow. It is not. Single tasking creates quality. Quality creates confidence. Confidence fuels momentum. When the mind is fully present, learning deepens, results improve. This is how excellence is built. Focus protects energy. Distraction drains energy faster than effort. Each interruption demands recovery. A focused mind preserves energy. It moves with purpose. Over time, this creates endurance. A simple focus ritual. Choose one important task each day. 1. Before starting, remove distractions. Silence notifications. Clear your space. Work for a set period. Short, undisturbed. This ritual trains attention. Consistency builds strength. The inner connection to focus. Focus is influenced by emotion and identity. An anxious mind struggles to concentrate. An aligned identity sharpens attention. When you know who you are becoming, focus follows direction. This connects focus to the inner game. Why focus wins long term. Trends change. Tools evolve. Focus remains valuable. Those who can concentrate learn faster. They adapt better. They outperform quietly. This is why focus is a competitive advantage. Carrying focus forward. Focus is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. Chapter 7. Confidence is built, not found. Many people believe confidence is something you either have or do not have. They look for it in personality. They wait for it to appear before acting. This belief keeps them stuck. Confidence is not found. It is built. This chapter explains how confidence grows through action, repetition, and self-trust. The myth of natural confidence. Some people appear confident from the outside, They speak clearly. They act decisively. It is easy to assume they were born that way. Most were not. What looks like confidence is often familiarity, practice, experience. Confidence grows when the mind learns one simple truth. I can handle this. Action comes before confidence. Many people wait to feel ready. They wait to feel sure. Readiness rarely comes first. Action does. When you act, the brain gathers evidence. It learns what works. It learns what does not. Each action sends a message. I showed up. I survived. I learned. This message builds confidence quietly. A simple, everyday example. Think about the first time you tried something new. Public speaking, starting a job. Fear was present. Confidence was low. Over time, repetition reduced uncertainty. Confidence followed. The task did not change. You did. Confidence grows through evidence. The mind believes what it experiences, not what it is told. Positive thinking without action feels empty. Action creates proof. Each small win matters. Each completed task counts. These moments stack. They form trust. Confidence is trust in yourself. Failure does not destroy confidence. Many people fear failure because they believe it will erase confidence. The opposite is often true. Failure teaches resilience. It teaches adjustment. Confidence grows when you learn that failure does not break you. A person who has failed and continued is often more confident than one who has never tried. The role of self-talk. Confidence is influenced by inner dialogue. The voice inside your head either supports action or blocks it. A supportive voice says, try. A fearful voice says, avoid. Training that voice strengthens confidence. This connects confidence to the inner game. Building confidence through preparation. Preparation reduces fear. It creates familiarity. When you prepare, you increase control. Control increases calm. Confidence rises when you know you have done the work. Preparation is not perfection. It is readiness. Confidence is contextual. Confidence is not global. It is specific. You may feel confident in one area and unsure in another. This is normal. Confidence grows where action happens. It fades where avoidance lives. Choose where to build. A practical confidence habit. Each day do one small thing that stretches you. Not overwhelming, just slightly uncomfortable. Speak up once. Finish one task. Make one decision. These actions build courage. Courage builds confidence. Why confidence sustains success? Confidence supports risk-taking. It supports leadership. It supports persistence. Without confidence, talent stays hidden. With confidence, potential becomes visible. Confidence allows you to step forward when others hesitate. Confidence as a long-term skill. Confidence is never finished. It grows and adapts. Each new level of success requires new confidence. The process repeats. This is not a flaw. It is growth. Moving to the next layer. Confidence prepares you to act, but action must be supported by discipline. Chapter 8. Discipline over motivation. Motivation feels powerful. It creates excitement. It sparks action. But motivation is unstable. It rises and falls with mood, energy, and circumstance. Discipline is different. It does not depend on feeling ready. It depends on commitment. This chapter explains why discipline matters more than motivation. The problem with relying on motivation. Motivation often arrives without warning. It also leaves without notice. When things feel easy, motivation appears. When things feel hard, it disappears. If progress depends on motivation, consistency collapses. Discipline fills the gap. Discipline is a decision. Discipline is not punishment. It is a choice. It is deciding in advance how you will act, even when you do not feel like it. This decision removes negotiation. You stop asking, should I do this? You simply do it. This clarity conserves energy, a common motivation cycle. Many people start strong, they feel inspired, they commit fully, then discomfort arrives. Fatigue, boredom, doubt, motivation fades. Discipline determines what happens next. Without discipline, progress pauses. With discipline, momentum continues. Discipline creates freedom. At first, discipline feels restrictive. Over time, it becomes freeing. When habits are automatic, the mind relaxes. Decisions are simplified. You no longer rely on willpower. You rely on systems. Freedom grows from structure. Small disciplines matter most. Discipline is built through small actions, not dramatic effort. Showing up when tired, finishing when bored, stopping when needed. These moments shape identity. Discipline compounds quietly. Discipline builds self-respect. Each disciplined action sends a message. I keep my word. This builds self-trust. Self-trust builds confidence. Discipline strengthens the inner game. Motivation can follow discipline. Many people believe motivation leads to action. Often, action leads to motivation. Once you start, energy appears. Progress creates momentum. Discipline gets you started. Motivation joins later. A simple discipline framework. Choose one habit that matters. Define when and where you will do it. Do it regardless of mood. Keep it small. Consistency matters more than intensity. Discipline during low days. Low days will come. Energy will drop. On these days, discipline matters most. Lower the standard, not the habit. Do less, but do something. This keeps the chain unbroken. Why discipline sustains success? Success requires repetition. Repetition requires discipline. Without discipline, progress resets. With discipline, growth continues. Discipline turns effort into identity. Moving forward, with structure, discipline supports every skill in this book. Focus, confidence, emotional control. Chapter 9. Winning the battle with fear. Fear appears whenever growth is near. It shows up before change. It shows up before progress. Many people believe fear is a sign to stop. In reality, fear is often a sign you are moving in the right direction. This chapter explores how to understand fear, work with it, and move forward anyway. Fear is a protective response. Fear exists to keep you safe. It warns against danger. It prevents reckless behavior. The problem is that fear does not distinguish between real danger and imagined risk. It reacts to uncertainty. It reacts to exposure. When you try something new, fear speaks up. Understanding this changes your relationship with fear. The two types of fear. There is physical fear. This protects your body. Then there is psychological fear. This protects your identity. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of embarrassment. These fears feel intense, but they are rarely dangerous. They threaten comfort, not survival. A familiar fear scenario. Imagine standing at the edge of a new opportunity, a promotion, a new business, a bold decision. Your mind lists reasons to wait, to prepare more, to delay. This is fear trying to maintain the familiar. Progress requires stepping forward anyway. Fear grows in avoidance. Avoidance feeds fear. The longer you avoid, the stronger fear becomes. Action shrinks fear, even small action. Each step forward teaches the mind that danger did not occur. This rewires the response. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is not fearlessness. It is movement despite fear. Waiting for fear to disappear is waiting forever. Successful people act while fear is present. They do not eliminate it. They manage it. Naming fear reduces its power. When fear feels vague, it feels overwhelming. Name it. Is it fear of judgment? Fear of failure? Fear of losing control? Once named, fear becomes specific. Specific fears are easier to handle. The fear and discipline connection. Discipline supports action when fear appears. It removes emotion from the decision. You do not argue with fear, you follow your plan. This is why discipline is essential for growth. A practical fear exercise. When fear arises, ask 2 questions. What is the worst realistic outcome? What is the likely outcome? Often the gap is large. Seeing this gap restores balance. Fear and identity growth. Fear often signals identity expansion. You are stepping beyond who you were. The old identity resists. The new identity requires action. Growth happens at this boundary. Building a relationship with fear. Fear does not need to disappear. It needs direction. Treat fear as a signal, not a stop sign. Over time, fear becomes familiar, less intense, more manageable. Why fear mastery matters? Fear blocks opportunity. It limits potential. Mastering fear does not remove risk. It removes paralysis. This allows consistent progress, stepping into the next chapter. Winning the battle with fear prepares you for setbacks, because action does not guarantee smooth results. Chapter 10. Resilience and mental toughness. No path to success is smooth. Setbacks appear. Plans break. Progress slows. What determines long-term success is not avoidance of difficulty. It is the ability to recover and continue. This ability is called resilience. Its steady partner is mental toughness. This chapter explores how both are built from the inside. Resilience is the ability to return. Resilience is not about never falling. It is about returning after the fall. Life applies pressure in many forms: rejection, failure, loss, delay. Resilient people feel these moments fully. They simply do not let them define the end. They bend, they adapt, they rise again. Mental toughness is emotional stability under stress. Mental toughness is calm under pressure. It is clarity when things feel uncertain. It does not mean being hard or cold. It means staying steady. A mentally tough person does not panic easily. They pause, they assess, they respond. This steadiness protects progress. Why setbacks feel personal? When effort is high, failure feels personal. The mind links results to identity. This is where many people break. They say, "This proves something about me." Resilience interrupts that story. It separates outcome from identity. You are not your setback. You experienced one. This distinction is critical. A common resilience test. Imagine working toward a goal for months. Then something goes wrong. The result is disappointing. The first response is emotional: frustration, disbelief, doubt. The second response determines the future. Do you withdraw, or do you adjust? Resilience lives in the second response, reframing failure as feedback. Failure carries information. It shows what did not work. Resilient minds look for lessons, not excuses. This does not remove disappointment. It gives it purpose. Each setback becomes data. Data improves the next attempt. Mental toughness is built in small moments. Mental toughness is not built in dramatic events alone. It grows in daily challenges, finishing when tired, staying calm in disagreement, continuing when progress is slow. These moments train the mind. Small acts of endurance create strength. The role of recovery. Resilience includes recovery. Rest is not weakness, it is strategy. Pushing without recovery leads to burnout. Burnout weakens resilience. Knowing when to pause preserves long-term strength. Mental toughness includes wisdom, self-talk. During hard times, the inner voice matters most. During setbacks, a harsh voice says, "This always happens." A supportive voice says, "This is part of the process." Tone influences endurance. Training the inner voice strengthens resilience. Building a resilient identity. Resilient people see themselves as adaptable, not fragile. They expect challenges. They plan for disruption. This expectation reduces shock. When difficulty arrives, they are ready. A simple resilience practice. After a setback, ask 3 questions. What happened? What can I learn? What is my next step? This keeps momentum alive. Why resilience sustains success? Success is not achieved in a straight line. It requires persistence over time. Resilience keeps you in the game. Mental toughness keeps you steady within it. Together they protect long-term growth. Preparing for the next layer, resilience helps you recover, but daily habits determine direction. Chapter 11. The Habit Loop of Success. Success rarely comes from one big decision. It comes from many small actions repeated over time. These repeated actions are habits, and habits quietly shape your life. This chapter explores how habits work, why they matter, and how to build habits that support long-term success. Habits shape more than goals. Most of your day runs on habit. How you start the morning, how you respond to stress, how you use your time. Habits reduce decision fatigue. They create rhythm. When habits are aligned with your goals, progress feels natural. When they are not, effort feels heavy. Success is not built by occasional effort. It is built by daily patterns. Understanding the habit loop. Every habit follows a simple loop. A trigger, an action, a result. The trigger starts the behavior. The action is the habit itself. The result reinforces it. This loop repeats until it becomes automatic. Understanding this loop gives you control. Triggers are everywhere. Triggers can be external. A time of day, a location, a notification. They can also be internal. An emotion, a thought, a feeling of boredom or stress. Once a trigger appears, the habit follows without much thought. Awareness of triggers is the first step to change. Why bad habits stick? Bad habits often provide quick relief, comfort, distraction, escape. The result feels good in the moment. The cost appears later. Good habits often feel uncomfortable at first. Effort is required. The reward is delayed. This imbalance explains why habits form easily in one direction and slowly in the other. Small habits create big change. Many people aim too big. They try to change everything at once. This overwhelms the system. Small habits are easier to maintain. They lower resistance. They build momentum. One small habit done daily outperforms a big habit done rarely. A realistic habit story. Consider someone who wants better health. They plan intense workouts. They last 1 week. Then exhaustion wins. Another person starts with a short walk each day, 10 minutes. No pressure. Weeks pass. The habit sticks. The walk grows longer. The second person builds consistency. Consistency builds results. Habits and identity reinforce each other. Habits shape identity. Identity shapes habits. When you act consistently, you send yourself a message. This is who I am. A person who reads daily becomes a reader. A person who trains regularly becomes disciplined. This loop strengthens over time. Designing habits intentionally. Do not rely on willpower. Design your environment. Make good habits easy. Make bad habits hard. Prepare in advance. Remove friction. Environment shapes behavior more than motivation. Tracking builds awareness. Tracking habits increases consistency. It creates visibility. Seeing progress builds motivation. Missing days highlights patterns. Tracking is not about pressure. It is about clarity. Clarity supports discipline. When habits break, habits will break. This is normal. The mistake is stopping completely. Missing 1 day does not matter. Missing many days does. Return quickly, without judgment. Recovery is part of the loop. Why habits create freedom? Habits remove constant decision-making. They protect energy. When important actions are automatic, mental space opens. This freedom allows creativity, focus, and growth. A simple habit framework. Choose one habit that supports your goal. Attach it to an existing routine. Keep it small. Repeat daily. This framework works because it respects human nature. Habits as the engine of success. Talent helps. Motivation helps. Habits sustain progress. They work quietly in the background. They do not demand attention. They compound. This is the habit loop of success. Moving toward clarity. Habits shape daily action, but action must follow direction. Chapter 12. Vision and Inner Clarity. Movement without direction creates exhaustion. Effort without clarity creates frustration. Many people are busy every day. They work hard. They stay active, yet they feel lost. This happens when vision is missing. This chapter explores why vision and inner clarity are essential for meaningful success. Vision is direction, not fantasy. Vision is not wishful thinking. It is not daydreaming. Vision is a clear sense of direction. It answers one simple question: where am I going? When vision is clear, decisions become easier. When vision is unclear, everything feels heavy. Vision does not require perfect detail. It requires intention. Why clarity comes before action. Action without clarity creates noise. Clarity filters options. When you know what matters, distractions lose power. You stop chasing every opportunity. You start choosing deliberately. Clarity reduces mental conflict. Conflict drains energy. This is why inner clarity must come first. A common clarity problem. Many people set goals based on pressure, social pressure, family pressure, comparison pressure. They pursue paths that look impressive, but feel empty. Over time, motivation fades. Resistance grows. This is not laziness. It is misalignment. Inner clarity is self-honesty. Inner clarity begins with honesty, not judgment, not criticism. Honesty about what you want. Honesty about what you value. Honesty about what matters now. This honesty requires stillness. Noise hides truth. Clarity often appears when you slow down. Vision evolves over time. Vision is not fixed. It grows as you grow. What mattered years ago may not matter now. This is normal. The problem is not change. The problem is holding on to outdated direction. Clarity requires regular reassessment. A story of refocused direction. Consider someone who achieved early success. They followed a clear path. Results came quickly. Years later, progress slowed. Motivation dropped. They thought something was wrong with them. It was not. Their vision had expired. Once they redefined success for their current season, energy returned. Focus sharpened. Progress resumed. Vision creates emotional stability. When vision is clear, emotions settle. You know why you are doing what you are doing. Setbacks hurt less. Delays feel manageable. Without vision, every obstacle feels personal. With vision, obstacles feel temporary. Clarity stabilizes emotion. The difference between goals and vision. Goals are milestones. Vision is the direction. You can change goals and keep vision. You should not change vision lightly. Vision guides goal selection. Without vision, goals become random. This distinction matters. Inner clarity simplifies choices. Many decisions feel difficult because priorities are unclear. When vision is strong, choices narrow. You ask one question: does this move me closer or farther? This removes overthinking. Simplicity is a sign of clarity. A practical clarity exercise. Ask yourself 3 questions. What do I want to build? Why does it matter to me? What kind of person must I become? Answer slowly, without editing. These answers reveal direction. Vision fuels discipline. Discipline without vision feels forced. Discipline with vision feels purposeful. When effort connects to meaning, resistance decreases. Vision gives discipline context. Inner clarity requires boundaries. Clarity means saying no, often no to distractions, no to comparison, no to paths that do not align. Boundaries protect vision. Without boundaries, clarity fades. Vision is an inner agreement. Vision is not pressure. It is agreement. An agreement between who you are and where you are going. When this agreement exists, inner conflict reduces, energy returns. This is the power of clarity. Why vision sustains long-term success. Motivation fluctuates. Circumstances change. Vision endures. It pulls you forward during uncertainty. It anchors you during success. Vision gives effort meaning, preparing for the next chapter. Vision sets direction, but direction alone is not enough. Chapter 13. Alignment between mind and action. Many people know what to do. They understand the steps. They see the path clearly, yet progress feels slow. Effort feels heavy. Results feel inconsistent. The problem is not knowledge, it is misalignment. This chapter explores why success accelerates when your mind and actions move in the same direction. What alignment really means. Alignment means your thoughts, emotions and actions agree. There is no internal argument, no quiet resistance. You think one thing and do another when alignment is missing. You want progress, but avoid discomfort. You want change, but cling to familiarity. When alignment exists, action feels clean. Not always easy, but clear. The cost of inner conflict. Inner conflict drains energy. It creates hesitation. It slows momentum. You may feel busy while moving nowhere, productive yet unsatisfied. This happens when the mind says yes and behavior says no. Over time, this conflict erodes confidence. You stop trusting yourself. Alignment restores trust, a common misalignment pattern. Consider someone who values growth. They talk about improvement. They set goals, yet they avoid feedback. They delay difficult conversations. They resist challenge. The mind wants growth. The actions protect comfort. This gap creates frustration. Until alignment is restored, progress stalls. Alignment begins with awareness. You cannot align what you do not notice. Start by observing patterns. What do I say I want? What do I actually do? No judgment, just honesty. Awareness reveals friction points. Beliefs drive action, actions follow beliefs. If behavior does not match intention, beliefs are often the reason. You may say you want success, but believe success brings pressure or loss of freedom. The mind protects against perceived threat. Alignment requires addressing hidden beliefs, closing the gap between intention and action. Alignment improves when intentions are realistic. Over-ambitious goals create resistance. Smaller steps reduce friction. They allow action to match intention. Consistency matters more than intensity. Emotional alignment matters too. Emotions influence action more than logic. If a task triggers anxiety, avoidance appears. If it triggers meaning, engagement follows. Emotional alignment requires understanding why you act. Reconnect actions to purpose. Purpose softens resistance. A story of restored alignment. Imagine someone who wants better health. They know what to eat. They know how to move. Yet habits remain inconsistent. They believe discipline requires perfection. When perfection fails, they stop. Once they redefine success as consistency, alignment returns. Small actions feel acceptable. Momentum builds. The goal did not change. The alignment did. Alignment builds momentum. When mind and action agree, energy increases. You stop negotiating with yourself. Decisions feel lighter. Follow-through improves. Momentum becomes natural. This is one of the most powerful states you can experience. Integrity is alignment in action. Integrity is not about image. It is about internal consistency. Doing what you say you will do, especially when no one is watching. Each aligned action strengthens integrity. Integrity strengthens identity. This loop compounds. A simple alignment check. Ask yourself one question before acting. Does this support the person I am becoming? If the answer is yes, act. If not, pause. This check builds awareness and direction, reducing inner resistance. Resistance often signals misalignment. Listen to it. Ask what feels off. The timing, the method, the expectation. Adjust without abandoning the goal. Flexibility supports alignment. Alignment is a practice. Alignment is not permanent. It requires regular attention. Life changes. Values evolve. What was aligned before may not be aligned now. Review often. Adjust gently. This keeps progress sustainable. Why alignment creates sustainable success. Aligned action does not rely on force. It relies on clarity. When mind and action work together, effort feels purposeful. Burnout reduces. Satisfaction increases. Success becomes something you live, not something you chase. Preparing for the next chapter. Alignment creates steady movement, but movement over time requires patience. Chapter 14. Playing the long game. Most people quit too soon, not because they lack ability, but because they underestimate time. Success rarely arrives quickly. It unfolds through patience, consistency, and perspective. This chapter is about learning to play the long game, the illusion of fast success. Modern culture celebrates speed, quick wins, instant results. These stories create unrealistic expectations. When progress feels slow, doubt appears. But what looks like overnight success is often years in the making. The long game respects reality. Time is a multiplier. Small actions repeated over time create large outcomes. This is not dramatic. It is reliable. The long game relies on compounding. Skills compound. Habits compound. Relationships compound. Those who stay consistent benefit from time. Why patience feels hard. Patience challenges the ego. It asks you to trust the process. The mind wants feedback. It wants proof. When results are delayed, motivation drops. Understanding that delay is normal reduces frustration. A story of quiet persistence. Consider two people starting the same journey. One demands fast results. The other commits to steady improvement. The first person changes plans often. They chase shortcuts. They burn out. The second person stays focused. They adjust slowly. They improve consistently. Years later, the difference is clear. The second person wins the long game. Playing the long game with identity. When identity is tied to immediate results, setbacks feel devastating. When identity is tied to growth, time becomes an ally. You begin to say, I am becoming, not I must prove. This mindset sustains effort. Delayed gratification builds strength. Choosing long-term benefit over short-term comfort is a skill. Each time you delay gratification, self-control strengthens. This builds discipline. It builds trust. The long game trains the inner game. Consistency over intensity. Intensity burns bright, then it fades. Consistency moves steadily. It endures. The long game favors steady effort. Small actions done daily. This approach protects energy. Measuring progress wisely. When playing the long game, metrics must change. Track effort. Track habits. Track learning. Do not obsess over outcomes alone. Progress is often invisible before it becomes obvious. Staying committed during plateaus. Plateaus are part of growth. They are not signs of failure. During plateaus, learning continues beneath the surface. Those who quit miss the breakthrough that follows. Patience keeps you present. Perspective reduces pressure. The long game removes urgency. It replaces it with trust. You stop rushing. You stop forcing. This reduces stress and improves quality. Building a long-term mindset. Ask yourself one question. What would this look like if I committed for years? This question changes behavior. It encourages sustainable choices. Why the long game wins. Trends fade. Shortcuts expire. The long game endures. Those who play it build depth. Depth creates stability. This is how lasting success is built. Chapter 15. Becoming the person who succeeds. Success is not an event. It is an identity. It is not something you reach one day and then keep forever. It is something you live, something you practice. This final chapter brings everything together. It is not about adding more strategies. It is about becoming. Success is a way of being. Many people chase results. They focus on outcomes, but results are temporary. They come and go. The person you become stays. When you become disciplined, progress follows. When you become focused, clarity follows. When you become resilient, momentum follows. Becoming always comes first. The inner game revisited throughout this book. You have explored the inner game: mindset, emotion, focus, discipline, identity. These are not separate skills. They work together. When the inner game is strong, the outer game becomes manageable. Success stops feeling forced. It starts feeling aligned, from goals to standards. Goals give direction, standards give consistency. A goal says, I want this. A standard says, this is how I live. Standards shape daily behavior. They remove debate. The person who succeeds does not negotiate with their values. They act in alignment. Daily practice over occasional effort. Success is built through daily practice, not occasional bursts of effort. Small actions, repeated consistently. This is not glamorous. It is effective. Daily practice creates trust. Trust creates confidence. Self-trust is the foundation. Self-trust is earned. It is built through follow-through. Each promise kept strengthens belief. Each aligned action reinforces identity. When you trust yourself, fear loses power, doubt quiets. Self-trust is one of the greatest advantages you can build. Growth never ends. Becoming the person who succeeds is not a finish line. It is an ongoing process. Each level of growth requires new skills, new patience, new discipline. This is not a burden. It is a privilege. Growth keeps life meaningful. Choosing responsibility. The person who succeeds takes responsibility, not blame. Responsibility. They accept influence over their actions, their mindset, their responses. This sense of ownership creates freedom. Success and peace can coexist. Many believe success requires sacrifice of peace. This is not true. When success is aligned with values, peace grows. You stop performing. You start living. Success becomes sustainable. A final reflection. Ask yourself one final question. Who am I becoming through my daily actions? This question reveals everything. If the answer feels right, continue. If not, adjust. Becoming is a choice you make every day. Living the inner game. The inner game does not end with this book. It continues with you. Each decision, each habit, each response. You now have the awareness, the tools, the direction. The rest is practice. Conclusion. Success is not a destination you arrive at one day. It is a direction you choose again and again. Throughout this book, you explored one simple truth. Lasting success is built from the inside out. You learned that mindset shapes action, that emotions influence decisions, that focus, discipline, and habits create momentum. Most importantly, you learned that success is not about doing more. It is about becoming more aligned. The inner game is not something you win once. It is something you practice daily. There will be challenges ahead. There will be moments of doubt. This is normal. When those moments come, return to the inner game. Pause, refocus, choose intentionally. You do not need perfection. You need consistency, small actions, clear values. honest self-reflection. These are enough. As you move forward, remember this: you are not chasing success. You are building it through who you become. Let your thoughts support you. Let your actions reflect your values. Let time work in your favor. The inner game is always available to you. And when you play it well, success follows naturally. This is not the end. It is the beginning.